Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. This class we are going to see 11th standard botany chapter 1 the living world. Learning objectives of this lesson. So after the completion of this lesson you will come to know about the living and non-living things, their differences and the attributes of the living organisms, and we also come to know about different kind of classification systems proposed by biologists, and also we will know about various living organisms like bacteria, their characters, structure and reproduction, and also the characteristic features of archaebacteria, cyanobacteria, mycoplasma and actinomycetes. And also we will come to know about fungi and the structure and the uses of mycorrhiza and lichens. So about all these organisms we will see in detail. Before seeing all the organisms in detail, let us have an introduction of the chapter. So Earth was formed some 4.6 billion years ago. So we all know Earth is a life supporting planet. So it has got all living and non-living organisms. So this presence of living and non-living organisms together is referred to as a biosphere. And also Earth consists of mysteries and wonders of living organisms. For example, so there is some mystery that is involved behind the Venus trap, which is going to catch the insect upon touch, a squid squeezing the ink to predator just to escape from the predator, and the response of the sunflower towards the sunlight. So all these are some wonders in the living world. And we all know Earth harbors both landforms and life forms. So have you ever thought of DNA molecule? So DNA molecule is nothing but deoxyribonucleic acid. So this DNA molecule is very essential for regulation of life. So DNA molecule is composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and phosphorus. So thus the non-living and living things exist together to make our planet unique. So according to a survey made by Mora et al., so et al. Refers to the group of scientists who are working with Mora. So 2011, the number of estimated species on Earth is 8.7 million. And the living world includes microbes, plants, animals and human beings. So each of these living organisms possess unique and distinct features. So now let's see about the attributes of living organisms. So the attributes of living organisms are as follows. So all the living organisms possess these attributes. They are growth, nutrition, movement, reproduction, excretion, irritability. So here irritability refers to the response towards a particular stimulus, respiration and metabolism. Let's see few of the attributes in detail. The first attribute of living organism is growth. So growth is an intrinsic property of all living organisms. So in this context, intrinsic refers to the property that is found inside of an organism and through which they can increase the cells both in number and mass. So growth is nothing but increase of cells. So the cells are going to increase both in number and also it is going to increase in mass. The unicellular and multicellular organisms grow by cell division. So unicellular organisms possessing only one cell and multicellular organisms that are made up of many cells. So in these organisms, growth takes place by cell division. So you all know we also have arisen from a single cell called zygote. So a zygote only it is going to divide continuously and then it is transforming into embryo, and from embryo the fetus is formed and which will further develop into a child, and as we grow we will transform into an adult. So all the living organisms are arising by the process of cell division. So in plants, growth is indefinite and occurs throughout their life. So it is not going to occur in a particular pattern. So the growth is referred to as indefinite growth. Whereas in case of animals, the growth is definite and occurs for some period of time. So however, cell division occurs in living organisms to repair and heal the worn out tissue. So why growth is definite here? Because as an individual grows and after attaining a particular stage, the growth of the individual ceases. But if needed, for example, in case of any injury or damage, so which occurs to our cells or tissues, again it can be repaired by means of cell division. So growth in non-living objects is extrinsic. So we have seen the growth in living organisms. So it is an intrinsic property, whereas in case of non-living objects, it is extrinsic. For example, mountains, boulders and sand mounds, they grow by simple aggregation of material on the surface. Aggregation refers to collection of material. So in these cases, the growth is extrinsic. And living cells grow by the addition of new protoplasm within the cells. Therefore, the growth in living things is intrinsic. So in unicellular organisms like bacteria and amoeba, growth occurs by cell division. And such cell division also leads to growth of their population. Hence, growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive events. The next attribute of living organism is cellular structure. So all living organisms are made up of cells. So the cells may be prokaryotic or eukaryotic. So first you should know what is prokaryote and eukaryote. First, prokaryote. So pro refers to primitive and karyon refers to nucleus. Those organisms that possess primitive nucleus are referred to as prokaryotes. And also, these organisms do not possess well-developed organelles. So, the organisms, prokaryotes, are nothing but they are unicellular. They lack membrane-bound nuclei. Lack meaning they do not have. So, they do not have membrane-bound nuclei and organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies and so on. So example for prokaryote. So here I have given example bacteria. So it is an example of prokaryote, and blue-green algae is also an example of prokaryote. So in cellular structure, the second category is eukaryote. The term eu refers to true and karyon refers to nucleus. So eukaryotes are organisms that possess a definite or a true nucleus. And also they have membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondria, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. The eukaryotes may be either unicellular or multicellular. Example for unicellular eukaryote, amoeba, and example for multicellular eukaryote, Oudogonium. The next attribute of living organism is its ability to reproduce. So reproduction is one of the fundamental characteristics. And definition of reproduction is the tendency of a living organism to perpetuate its own species. That is, to give rise to its own species. Reproduction is of two different kinds, namely asexual and sexual. What is asexual reproduction? So, in case of asexual reproduction, it involves only a single parent and it does not involve fusion of gametes. So, asexual reproduction refers to production of progeny. Progeny is nothing but the offspring or young one, possessing features more or less similar to those of the parents. Whereas, in case of sexual reproduction, it involves the sex organs of two parents, male and female, and it involves the fusion of gametes. So, in case of sexual reproduction, it leads to the production of progeny, and in case of sexual reproduction, there occurs variation. Asexual reproduction in living organisms occurs by the production of conidia. So, here you can see penicillium. So, in penicillium, conidia formation, that is a kind of spore. Asexual spore is formed. So, through this conidia, it can give rise to a new individual. And in case of yeast, budding is seen. So, from the parent body, a new bud arises. Later, these bud will grow and develop into a new organism. This is also a kind of asexual reproduction. Next, in case of Spirogyra, fragmentation can occur. The parent body can get fragmented, and from each fragment, a new organisms can be formed. And regeneration is seen in planaria. So, regeneration is nothing but when a body part is cut, so it can develop or regenerate its lost body part. So, this capacity is referred to as regeneration. These are the different kinds of asexual mode of reproduction. The next attribute of living organism is response to stimuli. So, all organisms are capable of sensing their environment and their response to various physical, chemical and biological stimuli. The animals sense their surroundings by sense organ, and this is called consciousness. Whereas in case of plants, it also responds to certain stimuli. For example, bending of the plant towards sunlight. You all know the shoot of the plant grows towards the sunlight. And the closure of the leaves in touch-me-not plant to touch. So here you can see in this, when it is touched, the leaves of the touch-me-not plant closes. So these are all the responses of stimuli seen in plants. This type of response to stimuli is referred to as irritability. The next attribute of living organism is homeostasis. So, homeostasis is nothing but maintaining a steady state in inner environment is referred to as homeostasis. So, the property of self-regulation and tendency to maintain a steady state with an external environment which is liable to change. That is, even if there is any change in the external environment, internally we maintain a steady state which is referred to as homeostasis. For instance, we can give the example as the maintenance of our body temperature. So, irrespective of the surrounding temperature, we maintain a constant body temperature of 98.4 to 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So, this is one example of homeostasis. And also maintenance of our blood glucose level. So, is also an example of homeostasis. So, this homeostasis is essential for the living organism. So, to maintain the internal condition to survive in the environment. So we have seen several attributes of living organism. Apart from those attributes, even movement, nutrition, respiration and excretion are also considered as the property of living things. So the levels of organization in living organism begin with atom and it ends in biosphere. And each level cannot exist in isolation, and instead they form a level of integration. So here there is a representation of the level of organization and integration in living organisms. So from the atoms, molecules or compounds are formed. So these represents atoms and molecules represents the non-living components. So from these non-living components like atoms like carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, everything joined to form only a cell. So all these atoms and molecules together form an organelle, and which in turn form living cells. Group of cells are going to form tissue, and group of tissues join to form organ, and several organ together function as an organ system, and many organ system form an organism. So this is the second grade of organization, individual organism. And several organisms, living organisms together form a population, and the population comprise of a community. Community in turn will comprise of ecosystem. Ecosystem is nothing but the living and non-living organisms integrate together and live is referred to as an ecosystem. And several ecosystems form a biosphere, the living world. And the next important attribute is of living organism is metabolism. So metabolism is nothing but the sum total of all chemical reaction taking place in a cell of living organism. So all the chemical reaction that take place inside the body of living organism is referred to as metabolism. And metabolism is broadly divided into anabolism and catabolism. So let's see the differences between anabolism and catabolism. So anabolism is referred to as building up process, whereas catabolism is referred to as breaking down process. So as anabolism is referred to as building up process, smaller molecules will combine to form larger molecules. Since catabolism is breaking down process, larger molecules are going to break down into smaller units. So in case of anabolism, the chemical energy is formed and is stored. As many units join together, chemical energy is formed and stored. Whereas here, since it is a breaking down process, the stored chemical energy is going to be released and it is going to be used. An example for anabolism is synthesis of proteins from amino acids. So you all know proteins are made up of amino acids. So amino acids are referred to as the building blocks of protein. Many amino acids, they are going to unite together to form protein. So since amino acids join together to form a protein, it is an example of a building up process called anabolism. An example for catabolism, breaking down of glucose to carbon dioxide and water. So since it is a breaking down process, it is referred to as catabolism. So breaking of glucose to carbon dioxide and water, it is an respiration process. As the glucose is broken down to carbon dioxide and water, the energy is released in the form of ATP. So we have seen the various attributes of living organism. Such as we have seen few attributes like growth, reproduction, metabolism, and also we have seen about the response to stimuli, and we have seen about the nutrition, the movements, etc. So in this class we have completed the various attributes of living organisms. Meet you in the next class. Thank you.